So this might be a little bit of a long one. Grab some coffee, do some work, put this on in the background. I'm going to just talk. I have no notes. I'm going to just talk from experience and do a play-by-play for my tips on what I think works being successful on Whatnot, especially coming from someone who does not have a large social media presence and somebody who started from the very beginning on their own, not getting asked to join Whatnot before I could even get a credit or a sign-on credit for anybody referring me. So let's go ahead and kind of just get started from the beginning. So hello, my name is Jennifer. I have been selling on Whatnot for 4 months now, 5 months. I don't know, time kind of flies. I'm gonna go with about 5 months. And I've been a user on Whatnot before any referral program was even offered. And I was just kind of a watcher. I wasn't even really a buyer. I would just watch a couple of my friends that were on there and see what it was all about, just for entertainment purposes. And Whatnot has expanded since. They started in 2019, I believe. And I love it. I really, truly love it. Since I have been a seller on the platform, I have learned a lot. I do have a mini series from my first week selling on Whatnot, like my play-by-play experience, what my expectations were, how it went, if I liked it, my numbers, things like that. So I will put some links in the description if you guys want to check that out. Again, I do have a playlist on it. And I have done a live kind of talking a little bit Q&A about Whatnot. But this one, I feel like I have been on the platform long enough. I have sold enough. I have tried a lot of different things to where I feel comfortable that I can actually share some tips with things that have worked for me or what I would really recommend doing if you want to be successful on this platform as a seller. Now, first, I do want to state that if you plan on selling on Whatnot to reduce your death pile, like you have a lot of items and you just want to declutter, this may not be the best app for you as far as long-term goes. If you only have stuff to kind of sell 1, 2, 3 times, then you probably will only sell 1, 2, 3 times. So go for it and make your money as best as you can. But if you plan on continuously getting inventory, having inventory, sourcing inventory, wholesale, whatever it is that you might do, then this can potentially be a very good app for you. And these steps are kind of all things coming from a perspective of a fresh seller with little to no social media presence. I am on Instagram, I am on YouTube. I have less than 1,000 subscribers at this point on YouTube. I have less than 2,000 followers on Instagram. I don't really do much social media outside of these two platforms, so I don't have a huge following at all. Now, if you do have a huge following, if you have 40,000 plus subscribers, followers, TikTok, Twitch, whatever else you might be used to, then you may be able to get on this platform and just make really good money just from already having a social media presence. So this is not going to be those obvious tips. There are some people with beautiful faces, beautiful figures who may kind of showcase that so they get their support from their features. This is not going to be those kind of tips. This is going to be true kind of business savvy, more a little bit professional kind of tips and tricks for ways to make this a long-term successful professional business. So starting at the point that you are already an approved seller, you've done your onboarding, you have been ungated to actually sell and start your first auction. The very most important thing that I can say from the beginning to gain followers, to gain an audience, and to build your presence on Whatnot is to schedule shows in advance. And I don't mean just schedule, one show, but I mean schedule multiple shows. I think it's very important to never have your profile without any shows in there. A few reasons for that. One, people see that you're active, that you are constantly selling. Two, your shows will show up in the categories. So if somebody is searching vintage category or trading cards, Pokemon specifically, and I have a Pokemon show listed, then they can go and see, and if mine's listed 3 days from now and they scroll far enough, they can see that. So it gives people a little bit more of an advanced time to bookmark your show. So it's more time for an audience to find you. It's also more time for people to find you to follow. If you don't have any shows at all scheduled, it's going to be hard for people to find you just organically on there to be able to follow you. So this has helped with a lot of followers, and it has helped with bookmarks so that people get notified when you are going to go live. And that really helps a lot. Now, for me as well, I do a lot of different categories. So all of my kind of suggestions, my tips may not work for you, for your business. I love Whatnot because I don't have to stick to one thing. I don't have to sell just cards. I don't have to sell just clothing. I can do a little bit of everything, and there's an audience for all of that. Now, I like to do 3 shows a week. Imagine if I did 3 trading card shows a week, primarily Pokemon. I'm probably going to have the same audience, like the same buyers coming in. Of course, gaining a few here and there that are true buyers. But those buyers aren't going to be able to spend tons of money with me 3 days out of the week, assuming that they're also buying from other people. So it just makes sense in my mind that if I want to have 3 shows, to try to make them 3 different shows so that I reach to 3 different target buyers. And that is another thing as well, is that it's great to have a support community watching your show. The more people watching your show, the more eyes on your items, yes. But you really want to make sure that you are targeting towards getting buyers in your show, not necessarily just friends and family and followers and supporters in that sense. Because at the end of the day, if you're not selling anything, you're not making any money. If you're not making any money, what is the point? So I love having people. I have a group of people who will come in and talk with me, chat with me, play around, joke, support me, and they make me feel very, very comfortable. And I feel like I need them in there, because if it wasn't for them, then, my momentum would come down. So those people you can always count on for a positive, fun vibe. But the only way to reach new audience, new buyers, is to constantly have new shows, fun, fresh, catchy shows. I don't think that you have to go outside of your category in a lot of different things. But if you're doing just clothing, maybe try to cater towards specific niches. Like I have a dress auction, I have a denim auction, I have a vintage auction. So you can have different showcases, you can have different themes. You can have boho, you can have western, you can have grunge, you can have goth. You can do that different style as well. And then that would play towards different audience, towards different buyer market. On that end. So let's say you've scheduled out your shows. The good thing about this is people get worried because they don't know the exact date, the exact time that they're going to be able to have it. So I think that's why a lot of people hold off on scheduling, because they feel, well, I might have to push it back, I might have to push it up, things might happen. It's fine. You can edit your show. You can edit your show and push it back a week. You can push it back a day, push it back a couple hours. And those followers that have bookmarked that show stay there. So if you have to push it back, no biggie, you stay with those followers, and now you have more time for other followers. When scheduling your show, I think first just schedule it. Just pick some days, pick some times, pick a theme. After that, you really, really, really need to either make a thumbnail, like a little preview video, and or have photos or listings of what's going to be available in your auction. The people need to be able to visually see what you're going to be auctioning off. They need something to fall in love with. They need something to get excited about. They need something to remember and say like, oh, so-and-so has those overalls that I've been looking for. Or so-and-so had that really cool graphic tee that was, I could get it as a gift. Or they are going to have belts and I've been looking for belts. Whatever it might be. So if you have the exact items that you're going to be selling in a preview video, that's great because they can see everything very easily for you. And then it's up to you if you want to do your auction just very generic, like item 1, item 2, item 3. That does make the listings for you a lot faster, but then when the auction comes, you do have to make sure you keep track of who purchased what item. So for me, I like to spend a little bit more time prepping for the item by actually having a title when it comes to anything but trading cards. So anything but trading cards, I will have, so say loft dress, free people dress, and then I'll put the size in the title. That's very important, I think, is having size, measurements, even maybe material for clothing. But anything, having a photo is what's going to engage that customer and what's going to draw them to want to really make sure they catch your show. So even if you keep everything very generic, at least have a photo. I think that one photo is fine. If there's any damages or flaws, you can put that in the description, or you can take a photo of the damages and flaws. If I think that some items are going to have some damages, then I can just do like a copy paste in the description saying flaws will be shown live, warning before pre-bid, or something like that. Or don't pre-bid until you see flaws, because pre-bidding is possible even a week in advance once you have that item listed in your auction. So I'm trying really hard to not make this too confusing, because there's so many ways of doing it and whatnot, so many options, so many ways going about it depending on what works for you and your style. So I'm trying hard to keep it towards what works for me and what I do, and then know that you can tweak these options and these tips that best fit you. So the categories that I have done multiple auctions in are trading cards, done a lot of different trading card auctions, clothing, I have now done graphic tees and women's clothing, plush, I've done a few different plush auctions, and I have done some miscellaneous estate sale garage style auctions. So talking about the garage estate sale auctions, these are the most fun, I feel like, for buyers. You never know what you're going to get. The people who are truly still treasure hunting, you can bring out all sorts of things, a variety of items that will, satisfy a variety of different customers. However, when it comes to the shipping part, if you're selling a pin with a mug, with a vase, with a plush, with a shirt, with a picture frame, the shipping can be very, very difficult. That just leads me to my point of time is money. Time can work for you or against you with whatnot. I have tried some very fast-paced shows. I like to move fast. I am a one-person show. It is just me. I do everything, all three of these shows. I prep, I do the show, I do the shipping all alone, and I only use my phone. I don't use multiple screens. I don't use my computer, my laptop, an iPad, a tablet, multiple phones. I just use one phone. So everything that I monitor is from the phone. So getting prepared in advance helps me so that I can run my auction very quickly. I also know that even though this is a very, very quick pace buying format, people still will get bored of your show if you're moving too slowly, if you're taking too long in between auctions, if your auctions are running too long, if you have too much downtime, if it's too quiet, people will still get bored. So I love to move my auctions 20 to 30 second auctions. 20 seconds seem to be the sweet spot. I'll do 30 seconds if maybe I didn't do photos of stuff, but 20 seconds seems to be the sweet spot so I can really move. And I make sure that I talk about the item before I hit live. So you can pin your item, which is a great feature when it comes to clothing, because in the description you'll put the measurements or you put the material. That is a thing. People do ask for measurements and they do want the material because they want to know if it's stretchy. They want to know if maybe it's shrunk. They want to know if it's going to be itchy or something that they can't wear. So if you put that in the description and you pin the item first while you show it, while you talk about it, a few things happen here. One, they can see the measurements, they can see the title, they know exactly what's going to start. Two, anybody who set a reminder for that item and left to watch another auction, left to do the dishes, get the kids situated, whatever reason they might have left your auction, they will get notified. So they will get a notification that their item that they set a reminder for is coming up. 3, anybody who pre-bid on that item will also be notified that their item is coming up. So pinning the item is really good for a lot of multiple reasons. And then again, that gives you the time to show it, talk about it, and then while all those reminders are being sent and hopefully the people are coming back in there, then when you start the auction, even though it's only for 20 seconds, everybody is already ready to go. Now, if you don't pin the item before you talk about it, then you might want to do 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. Or if you feel like you just want more people to come in and hopefully catch an item because it's a very nice gem, then maybe you want to do a minute. I never really do anything longer than 30 seconds, but that's just me. So another big tip, which I know it's going to be hard naturally at the beginning, you need to get the hang of things, you need to get comfortable with it, but it's being organized. It's being organized so that your auctions flow smoothly. If you're not ready, if you're having to take a lot of time after an auction to write down a name, to put it away, to find a spot for it, again, people are going to get bored, they're going to lose interest. So you want to do whatever you need to prep your workspace so that during the auction you can just smoothly run. So for clothing, you can have a hanger and you can hang everything back up. I like to know at the end of my clothing auction exactly what did not sell, what is still up there. So what I do is I keep bins at my feet, so when something sells, I can set the item in the bin. I don't worry about taking it off the hanger. I just set it in the bin because I just want to move fast. So I get it, set it in the bin. Now, I can only do that if I have the title of the item in the auction. If I just put clothing piece 1, clothing piece 2, then I wouldn't be able to move that quickly. I'd have to get a sticky note or some washi tape. I'd have to write the person's name on there that won that item, and then I would have to put it away in a manner that the tape or the sticky note wouldn't come off of, so there would be a little bit more work. So this is why I do title my items. This way I can just toss them in the bin, and then after the show, I can go back and look at everybody's order and see, okay, Jennifer purchased this dress and this shirt, and I can just pull them, package them, boom. So I'm pulling out of my bins as I'm shipping and going through everybody's labels. Now, another thing is that will leave my rack with only stuff that didn't sell. So if they're very low cost items to me, if they're free to me, if I want them to go, I do not want to keep them, then I can choose to bundle. I can show people like, okay, this is what I have left. This is what people passed on. Let me know one more time if anybody jumping in here new is interested in any of these items. I can rerun them. If you're interested in multiples, I can go ahead and bundle them up. Because the bundling feature, people love that. Buyers love that. They love to get more items for one price. Absolutely love it. So if I say I'm left with 10 shirts at the end of my auction, and 5 of them are mediums, 3 are large, and 2 are smalls, then I might get the 2 smalls and say, these are both smalls. I'm going to go ahead and list them, one listing, and I can create a quick listing and say 2 shirts in the title, put the right measurement or the right weight, kind of estimate. You should, if you're a reseller, be pretty good at guesstimating what the weight of items are. If you're not really sure, if you're not really comfortable with that, then keep a scale right next to you when you do this so you can measure them quickly. But then you can create that one listing. So this is important for a lot of reasons, doing this bundle option, because if people are interested in multiple items, especially after the end and there's not really any competition in that on them, instead of selling each item, say for $2, say you started for $2, instead of selling each item for $2, $2, you can bundle them for $6, and that's going to help the buyer in having less shipping fees, so they're not gonna have to pay as much in the shipping, and that's gonna help the seller in having less seller fees. So I'm not gonna have to pay 30 cents, 30 cents, 30 cents for each item. I'll just pay the one transaction fee. So it's a win-win for both the buyer and the seller doing it that way. Plus it just kind of makes it easier, and it makes it more enticing, because if people see, oh, there's 3 shirts going for one price, that's a good deal, so maybe somebody else would be more encouraged to place a bid on that bundle. Now, when it comes to the longevity of actually making this work long term, I think it's very, very important to be as professional as possible, be as genuine and honest as possible, and to have good stuff, to have good inventory, to have good items that people actually want. Because yes, people are on here looking for deals, but they're also looking for fun. They're looking for socialization. They're looking for a good community. And more so, people want good items than cheap items. Yes, there's a lot of resellers. Of course, they're going to take advantage of cheaply priced items, even if they're a little dirty, they're a little flawed, they're not the best resale. If they can get them cheap enough, they're going to buy it. But the cheap buyers, which is like me, I'm a very cheap buyer. I'm very frugal. I try to spend as little as possible. Those aren't the buyers that you want to target. They're great. I love them. I love my people who come up and they're cleaners, they're closers. They help for me to move, because every $2 sale I love. I'm happy. I wouldn't list something and put it available for $2 if I did not want it to move for $2 or if I was losing on that item. That's just silly from a seller standpoint. But you really want to make sure that you have the quality items that people want, that are willing to spend more money on. That's how you make more money. Have better items. You may not want to, spot treat everything or reshape everything or clean everything. If you're just trying to get it out of there, then that's fine. You have to be okay with a lower price. But if you have some quality items and taking time to, like hats, reshape them. I have done quite a few hat auctions as well. Clothing, to spot treat them. Glass, to clean and wipe them down. This will go a long way in bringing more quality buyers, or just buyers who are willing now to spend a little bit more money. There is a little bit of a stigma and a worry. Like, it's an auction, right? So say you have an item and the value is $50. You want to start at $1 because that's what you're supposed to do. That's how the app works. But you're nervous because you may not have the audience who knows the true value, or you might only have one person that knows. So if you start at $1, it can sell at $1, and then you feel remorse, you feel guilty, you feel sad, angry, and then you think, man, this sucks. Whatnot is not for me. It sucks. Like, all my stuff only went for $1. Don't list it at $1. Don't list it at $1. If you know the value is $50, there's no reason why you need to list it at $1. Now, you definitely want to still give the people a good value. You want to give them a good deal. But if this item is a good item and it can easily sell at $50, then maybe offer it at $20. Maybe offer it at $15. Whatever you're good with as far as your margins go. I had a few dresses that I knew were worth $40, $50, $60, and I was fine with flipping them because I had $4 into them. So I was fine with letting them go at $15. $15, I'm still making a good profit. I'm happy with that. It's a quick flip. I don't have to do a full out listing on any other platform. And it still gives the buyer an amazing deal, and it still enables resellers to purchase this item and still be able to flip it. So if you're fine with doing that, you started at $15. They're excited because it's a good item and multiple people want it. It's a nice item. And so the bid goes higher, so some of those dresses sold for $20, $25, $35, and I was ecstatic with that. Okay, so this might be a little bit of basic information, but when it comes to shipping, try to be as quick as possible with the shipping. That's really going to help with your rating. Most people will rate poorly either because you weren't genuine, you didn't disclose the true condition of something, and maybe you didn't do it on purpose, maybe you missed a flaw, it does happen, or they score badly because you took too long to ship. Whatnot does suggest that you ship in 3 days. I think it's 3 to 4 days. However, I've had people wait almost 2 weeks before they ship me their item or ship me my item. You can request cancellation, but if you're getting something for a good deal, they might want you to do that. So I feel like that's a little bit dirty, because maybe the seller realizes, oh, they got such a good deal, I'd rather them not, so I just won't ship it. Hopefully they request a cancellation, and then I'll just cancel the order. But it does definitely put a bad feeling when I do receive it, because I think it took forever. So whatever experience I had with them that may have been positive, I've forgotten about that, and all I realize is and remember is the negative experience. Same thing goes with if I receive something that is very valuable. Maybe I received it for a good deal and they really half-assed the packaging. Even if it arrives to me in good condition, I take it as they just got lucky, and this, if they did this 10 times, maybe 5 out of 10, it would come out bad. And then I just realized that they don't care. They don't put enough effort into it. They're maybe selling too much, more than what they can ship at a good quality shipping rate. And that is just saying, don't bite off more than you can chew. I know these are all corny cliche sayings that I'm giving you all, but they really, really fit perfectly. If you do not want to ship 100 items, do not have an auction with 100 items. It's that simple. You have to think about that. If you do not want to be shipping every single day all week, don't have 4 shows. So just keep that in mind. Schedule your shows out, because I'm still going to throw that in there. Schedule out all of your shows. But if you feel like it's overwhelming, it's too much, your shipping is getting bad, you're making mistakes, you're mixing up orders, you're forgetting things, then push those shows back and give yourself some more time. There's also nothing wrong with doing short, small pop-up shows. I have done shows for 30 minutes and I have done shows for 3 hours. That has been my limitation. I shoot for an hour. I don't want to do a show really less than an hour, because I feel like that solid hour is the prime time mark for people coming and going and really getting engaged with you. Sometimes if they're too short, it's just not long enough to maximize on that dollar. And if they're too long, you draw it out and you lose all of the excitement from the beginning of the show. And all the people who are bidding, or like what you're left with is maybe not that great, not that exciting. So just end it. And the show, save that stuff for another time. Say you're planning on a show and you have 100 graphic t-shirts, 100 shirts, and you take time photographing every single shirt, taking the measurements for every single shirt, and listing every single one in your auction, and you make it through 50. The other 50 is not a waste. You can transfer those 50 from that show onto a future show. So don't feel like it's a waste of time to take those extra steps from the beginning. So now you're just splitting the show in half. So you're creating 2 shows instead of having the one long one. Or, sometimes there's glitches and issues like that, technical issues. So you can't do the full 100. So you can, and that's something that I don't think people talk about enough. You can go ahead and copy all of those items that did not sell into a new show, and that's going to be way quicker because you've already spent the time on it for the previous show. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Another thing is, when it comes to the shipping, like I was mentioning earlier about having the estate garage sale styles where it's so many different pieces, you can split your shipping. I've never done it. I recommend not to do it, to avoid it if you can, because from a buyer's perspective, especially if they don't know you're going to do that, they could get one shipping and think that you left out a bunch of stuff or left out something, or they get one shipping and then the other order takes longer, or it gets damaged. So there's just more chance for things to go wrong. But if your buyers know that you may split it, or if you tell them in advance that you may split it, you give them a heads up, then it would be okay, and maybe even better. Instead of sending like one giant box, say you had a bunch of heavy stuff, one buyer was just buying you out, instead of sending one giant box, you can split it into two, and you can put like your glass and fragiles in one box, and then you can do your, you know, plush and t-shirts and, you know, unsensitive items in another box, and you can ship it like that. So that would make it a little bit easier, or maybe a little bit safer for those fragile items. Again, I really only recommend doing that if you've communicated that with your buyers. There is now a messaging feature on Whatnot, which is really nice. Now, Android and iPhone are different though. The Android app does not have the messaging feature yet. I have set up my notifications where if somebody sends me a message, I do get notified on it, but I can't view it or communicate from my phone. I have to log into my computer and go to my messages that way. So that's a little bit of an unfortunate event that Apple and Android don't have the same features at the same time. Sometimes it makes things a little bit harder or a little bit more confusing, but there is a feature there. So if you have to break your shipments into 2 or 3, then I would just recommend and suggest that you reach out to that buyer first. Let them know, hey, you have 2 orders, 3 orders that are going to be getting shipped to you. And I honestly don't know. Whatnot might do that for you. Whatnot might show like multiple tracking information. But again, if a buyer doesn't know that's available, because a lot of people don't do it, most sellers don't do that, then it still could just be confusing. So the communication, I love that Whatnot now has the messaging option so that you can communicate very easily, versus hoping you can find someone on Instagram or hoping that you just know them in another way and can communicate with them that way. Okay, and I think the last thing that I'm going to talk about that I have done and does definitely work to grow on Whatnot and to get exposure is jumping in other streams and making yourself known, talking, chiming in. Now, I don't mean forcing anything. I don't mean clout chasing. I don't mean, you know, blowing up someone else's stream, talking about your shows and stuff like that. I don't mind, and I will tell people when they come in, because there's so many new people, so many new sellers, and they're super excited. And I don't want to rain on any parade. I'm excited with them. Hey, if you're new, you just got approved, you got your first show, you're scheduled, you're doing a show later today, go ahead and put it in the chat. That's quite all right. I don't mind it. Personally, I don't like to do that at all. I don't like to go into someone else's show and just be like, hey, what's going on? So everyone, come to my show tonight, come to my show tomorrow. This is what I'm selling. Rather, I like to try to really see if I vibe with that group. Throw out some comments, you know, throw out like, hello, what's going on? Or if I see a piece, you know, and I think it's a nice piece, it's a cool piece, actually commenting saying, wow, that's a gorgeous piece. Or if somebody's opening up cards and they get a good hit, you know, commenting saying, congrats, nice hit. Things like that I genuinely feel. Sometimes I am more of an introvert, where I naturally just like to not say anything. If I don't know anybody in that chat, I just watch. But it is important to socialize a little bit, right? That this app is a social app, because that's going to do a few things. That's going to get the buyer first. Sellers love engagement from the audience, even if you're not buying. They really enjoy communication. It keeps the momentum going. It keeps the chat kind of having some fun. And the more fun the stream is, the more fun that the chat is having, the more likely people are going to buy. So sellers, especially like myself, if you're talking and communicating, that is great. That's why I really love having that support system as well, keeping it fun. And when endorphins are going, when people are happy, they're more likely to spend money because they're having a good time. And they're more likely to spend even a little bit higher, right? Or the same thing goes with like education. So I watch a lot of streams that maybe something I'm never really going to sell, but it's new stuff to me and they're educating me and I'm learning. So I'm like, wow, you taught me a lot. Thank you so much. Hey, I kind of like that piece. I'm trying not to spend and I probably wouldn't buy it, but I want to show some support to you. So then, you know, I might end up buying that piece because I feel like, wow, they actually taught me something. This was pretty cool. And it's just a way to kind of give back. So opening up that form of communication from a seller perspective, is good to go into these other chats. So if I have say I have a card show coming up, a trading card show, and let's say it's Yu-Gi-Oh, then I'm going to go into Yu-Gi-Oh chats and I'm going to watch those streamers, because one, I want to see what I like and don't like. I want to see kind of how they're doing it, and I want to see if I can learn anything from them, and I want to see what their audience is looking for, what they like, what they don't like, how the engagement is. And then if I flow with them, I will stay and I will chat and I will watch, and I naturally will get followers that way. And so then if they see that I have a Yu-Gi-Oh stream coming up, they will most likely bookmark my stream. And I don't have to ask them to do that. I am just really being myself and engaging. Now, if I don't like the seller, if the audience isn't really my cup of tea, if the show is going in a way that I don't agree with, then I just leave and I find another show. And eventually I find one that I like, and I am like, okay, these are, you know, cool people. I can kind of hang out with this crowd, and I'll do that for any other show. So it's the same thing if I'm doing clothing. I'll jump into some clothing streams, and there's tons and tons of streamers. So don't go to every single show and say, hey, I have a show coming up, hey, I have a show coming up, hey, I have a show. You don't want to do that. It's not professional. Nobody likes that. That's annoying. That's kind of a buzzkill. But you can jump into every single stream until you find one that you really like all around, and then go ahead and just talk and see what happens. And if somebody likes you, if you're communicating in a way that they're like, hey, who's this person? Then they will just naturally go find you. That's when it actually works to build a true seller-buyer relationship and a true community, versus just using and abusing and running away and moving on to the next person to use and abuse, or to clout chase, or to just, you know, take and not give. But if you can take away the one most important thing that I can really suggest that makes a lot of difference, is scheduling out your shows. That is the one thing that I truly believe will continue your growth, will continue to grow as far as followers, will continue to grow as far as people attending your shows, and then will just continue to grow in general. And all that said is, of course, being your genuine self. Don't be somebody else you're not. Don't try to mimic other people. If you don't want to show your face, don't show your face. That's fine. There's no need to do that. If you'd rather be in front of the camera because you feel better, then go for it. If you'd rather be behind the camera because it makes you feel more comfortable and it's a little bit easier, it is easier definitely being behind the camera, because you can look at the chat easier. You can get up close and personal to read the chat without feeling like, you know, people are looking up your nose. And then you can move around and stuff like that a little bit better. You can play some music if you like. If you don't want to play music, that's not your thing, it doesn't interest you, don't play music. Then you'll get the people who really don't like music. But like I said, the more fun your stream is, the more engaging that you are, the more sociable that you are, the better your streams are going to be, and the longer people will stay, the more that people will come in, and the better chance that people will bid and actually buy stuff from you. So that is it. I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling. I'm pretty sure this is very long. I thought about doing this live, but I haven't posted a pre-recorded video in a while, so I figured I would just go ahead and make this video. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you have not applied to Whatnot, I do have a referral link down below. I also do have they're two different referral links. One is just like a generic $10 link. You can sign up through my link, and another one is a true referral where it will help put you at the top of the list, as long as you haven't applied before. If you've never applied for Whatnot and I give you this different type of referral, then your chances of getting approved are extremely higher, and I get a $200 sign up bonus after you do your first stream. So that's really cool. And if anybody ever wants to do that, I will spend that money in your stream. I definitely will have no problem doing that, because it's a $200 credit. and I have to spend it somewhere. So if you get approved and start selling based on my referral and I get that $200, I'll take that $200 and go and spend it in your first stream, your first couple of streams, whatever it might be. So let me know if you're ever interested in that. Like I said, that's only if you have not applied for Whatnot. I am on Instagram at JENSMULTIVERSE, so you can definitely send me a message there if you prefer. You can send a comment down here on this video, but I would appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. My channel is very sporadic, so just keep that in mind. It's a lot of crazy randomness. So if you just want to watch this video and peace out, I don't blame you. But hopefully I will catch you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.